Hello, and welcome to another edition of Heavy Hands. I am your host, Connor. As always, joining me is Mr. Phil.
Yo.
How do you do, Phil?
Not too bad. We only have one more week of this before we can watch a sensationally stacked pay-per-view. Or at least, that's what my standards have fallen down to at this point already.
It's me and Phil laying together in bed like at the end of Fargo. Phil patting me on the head saying, 2 more weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, Margie. You're right. There is going to be a good card someday. Yeah, I
One
mean,
day.
we're still in the goddamn thick of it. There's no doubt about that. We just made it through the UFC's attempted chemical attack on the nation of Serbia. Unfortunately, no lives were lost, but many fights were ended in the first round, and no one cared. Mm-hmm. Then the event ended, and life went on. Look, some people tried to come at me, not aggressively. They just tried to offer counter examples of worse main events over the last week. And I got to say, I respect the game. I respect the hustle. Not one was clearly worse or even really close to as bad as Medic Rodriguez. One of the true...
still ones which are close to as bad.
Yeah. There's no, as we said before, there was none that was worse. Not one. And many of the ones suggested were actually much better. And people have just forgotten that, the fighters named were at one point real prominent contenders. That is something that has never been the case for Uros Medic and Daniel Rodriguez. Nor will it ever be. Honestly, I'll say that even now. Medic is probably going to get, a ranked 11th or something off of this? He was 13, I think, coming in. Somebody's going to nuke him very soon. This isn't going anywhere. That's why it was a bad main event. It leads to nothing. But again, like I said, it's over. And it will be truly over once later in the show we manage to drag our analyzing asses across the carpet of that event. But first, we have a 1-fight card to look forward to.
Woo!
Phil, have you heard of Mateusz?
Upgrade.
Have you heard of Mateusz Gamrot and Quillan Salkilld?
I have.
Good. Then you are officially possessing of all the information you need to get anything out of this upcoming Apex Center event. That's right. It's Gamrot versus Salkilld, a real main event. You can't argue with that. As for the co-main, it's Carlos Diego Ferreira versus Billy Quarantillo. And let me just double check here. Yes, this card is booked in 2026. So do with that what you will. But to me, it feels like they run out of steam real fast on this lineup.
Very, very quickly.
This is sort of the
Carlos
Terrence
Diego
McKinney of card lineups,
Yep. Yeah, that is definitely one of those. Actually, I don't know if it is one of those fights where back in the day you'd be like, damn, that's a banger, because CDF has simply always operated on a higher level than Billy Quarantillo. So now it's just
yeah.
So back in the day, you wouldn't have been like, man, it's a CDF versus Billy Q fight. You would have just been like, why are they sending Billy Q out there to die?
Yeah.
But now you're like, well, both of these guys are extremely old now.
Yep. I will say, 5 years ago, I would have liked to see this matchup on a card. I would not have complained.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now they're both old. So anyway, that's the last fight even worth mentioning on this entire card. The rest of it is, trust me, don't look at it. It's much worse than that. Gamrot Salkilld, though. That much we must discuss.
Darren Elkins fighting again? Darren Elkins? Eh?
Yeah. Let me check the date on this card again. Oh, yeah. It is. Even that one is booked in 2026. That's crazy. What do you think of the main event, Phil? A difficult one to wrap one's head around, I think.
Yeah, because it's one of those matchups which is between like two extremely puzzling fighters.
Yes.
I think of the two, and it's an interesting one because of the two, Gamrot is obviously the one that we've seen much more of against a much consistently higher level of competition. We've seen what his ceiling is, etc., and so forth.
Definitely.
Still seems like in many ways the more inexplicable fighter. Like he is a one of one oddity in terms of
He is
in terms of how he fights, how his fights go. Whereas Salkilld, haven't seen that much of him, but he seems like he falls into more comfortable dynamics that we've encountered before. You're like, oh yeah, I've seen
I know the
Salkilld before.
I know the type. Yeah, I was just saying before we started here that Mateusz Gamrot really seems almost perfectly equipped to be a suffocating, control wrestler. He has endless cardio. He is I'm not excusing or forgetting about the amount of training that produced this, but when he's on the mat, he feels like an innately good scrambler, one of those natural rollers on the ground. His striking has improved, which is helped considerably by the fact that he's super fast. So, endless cardio, varied takedown game, tremendous mat wrestling, speed. He should be getting in on takedowns before anybody knows what's happening and just stealing all the time off the clock against everyone, it seems. And yet, he's Mr. just skating by hoping for a split decision. And he has been this whole time. He never, unless somebody is completely out of their depth on the ground, like a poor Esteban Ribovic, he never controls even the majority of a fight. It's strange.
Yep.
And as a consequence, all of his fights are incredibly close.
Yeah.
Almost against anyone.
Yeah, he's he's a sharp, dangerous, athletic puncher who rarely hurts people. He's a powerful wrestler who rarely controls people. He's a fantastic scrambler and positional grappler who rarely picks up submissions. He's just such an odd example of someone with a game which is incredibly dynamic in the traditional sense, and yet leads to nothing dynamic in terms of the actual finishes that you would expect.
Close but no cigar across the board. I bet Mateusz Gamrot has an ornate inlaid wooden case that he opens up, which is full of not cigars.
Yeah, his whole game is like watching Edson Barboza box.
Yeah.
Like you're like, man, this looks super cool. You're doing tons of good stuff. Edson, as long as he wasn't galloping backwards, would be like slipping and working the body and throwing in combination and jabbing and doing all this great stuff.
Slip,
and he would
pivot hook, nice resets, all that.
And he would just look great getting off the bus, and you'd just be like, why don't you ever hurt people, Edson Barboza?
Yeah.
And I could never really come up with a reason why.
Yeah.
He just didn't seem to, or to some extent, the man that Gamrot fought, Rafael Fiziev. You're like, you are dynamic, but you are not as dynamic as you look like you should be. You simply get forced out of a lot of these fights by a combination of durability and firepower that you simply don't possess. And so, as his mirror image Fiziev found when he fought Justin Gaethje, he just got kind of hustled out of the fight.
Yep.
And similarly, Gamrot had the same thing happen to him when he fought Charles Oliveira.
Yep.
Both of these guys were sort of the next generation coming to take out the old dogs, and the old dogs just simply had more firepower than them.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm not even sure with Gamrot, after all this time, I'm still not convinced that it is even really a firepower problem. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's a good athlete, and on speed alone, he should have no trouble hitting people with surprising, hurtful punches. And I have seen him do
Edson
it, you know?
Barboza was extremely quick.
Yeah, but I have seen him do it. Like, I've seen him drop people with
Mhm.
jabs now and then and land some nice counters. I think it's largely stylistic. I think it's the fact that Gamrot has never entered a striking exchange from which he isn't prepared and about to bail out from the moment he enters it. That he is just far too easy to force onto the back foot. And yeah, as a consequence, it doesn't really. The only consistent access he has to his wrestling game, which is his real A game, is on like people who recklessly give chase and make a big mistake. He's never disposed to put pressure on people. And that applies even when he gets an opening to like transform the fight into one when he's pressuring. I have long noted that Gamrot can take any single fighter in this entire division down, many of them kind of at will. And yet he himself does not seem particularly interested most of the time in keeping the positions that yields. I think it's a stylistic thing. Like, I just think Gamrot, he doesn't feel comfortable doing any of the things that I'm like, why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you taking over? I just think in his head, he's like a more sportsman than fighter, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just a perplexing fighter.
A fascinating fighter.
Meanwhile, yeah. Meanwhile, like Salkilld, yeah, he feels a lot more of a type.
Mm-hmm.
The big, lanky, violent, big, lanky, violent guy who has some like sneaky grappling tricks.
Yep. Dangerous kicks, dangerous punches.
He is essentially, as far as we can tell, a less deep version of like the Corey Sandhagen archetype.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He makes me think of Fares Ziam. I think he's got more horsepower than Fares Ziam. He's out here accidentally hurting fools on a much more consistent basis. But yeah, like tall, rangy, probably the first thing they got comfortable with is kicks. Then somebody mentioned that maybe they could throw a jab. And all the while they were like, if anything goes wrong, I don't care that I'm 8 feet tall. I'm going to turn into a lowercase c and try to take this motherfucker down. And that is a Salkilld thing. Like, he is, even in that Dariush fight, and like this is the difficulty of actually knowing Salkilld in particular, and why we are forced to rely so much on the kind of type that he seems to represent, because many of his meaningful fights are over very quickly, or if not, are decided by like one singular thing. And that Dariush fight, it's like, okay, we're going to see his wrestling tested. And on the bright side, he doesn't get taken down by Beneil Dariush, who is very invested in doing so. So that's impressive. That's a good look. He also spends the entirety of the fight like with Dariush's attempt at takedowns, just kind of keeping him pinned against the fence. And then the moment he breaks free, everything explodes for Beneil. But within that sudden turnaround, you see Salkilld squaring up, like chest to chest, throwing hooks, and then like curling his back and shooting because he smothered his own work. Like, it's just instinctive. And when I see that kind of stuff, I'm like, okay, this guy is guaranteed not nearly as sophisticated a striker as he probably thinks he is. That probably an awful lot of this success up to this point has been, as I've seen happen so many times before, because all these opponents are freaked out by his size and his power, and someday he's going to fight somebody who doesn't give a fuck and is technically equipped to handle that, and he's going to realize that he is sorely out of his depth. I've seen it before, you know. I just, Salkilld is one of those fighters that it's very hard for me to trust him And that might mean more if I hadn't spent the last 10 years learning just how much I could not trust Mateusz Gamrot.
Yeah, that's why it feels it's like such a tricky fight.
Yep.
Because you're basically talking someone whose core style is inconsistent against someone who sort of consistently slightly underperforms.
Yeah, it's like consistent but indecisive versus random but conclusive. You know, like the structure is not there for Salkilld, but again, until he reaches that one bad matchup that sort of peels all the paint off, he doesn't know that. And it kind of just doesn't matter, because like he can just, especially against Gamrot, he could go in there for 4 fucking rounds just sort of faffing around and getting out wrestled. And as long as he's still there in round 5, he's going to have pretty much just as good a chance of landing the shot that ends the fight. That's sort of the fundamental question here, is like, I think we've already seen, okay, Salkilld is not just going to be completely swamped the moment a skilled wrestler tries to take him down. He's at least not going to immediately, lose control of position. And then the question becomes like, can Gamrot control him well enough that he doesn't still have minimum 15 minutes of time on the feet at his range to find the shot that wins the fight? And I think I'm kind of talking myself into a Salkilld pick. Hearing myself say that, I'm like, but I hate it.
Yeah, the thing is that, given where these guys are in their career and how they're sort of been trending, and those dynamics, I think that like a Salkilld would be a reasonable kind of pick. You just, it's a guy who's been proven to be not that dynamic against a guy who is like extremely consistently dynamic.
Yep, perhaps.
And that he's going to get lots of chances to do that. And we've talked about how Gamrot, just doesn't put a stamp on fights that often. I do think, having said all that, I think Gamrot's going to hurt him on the feet.
It's certainly possible.
Like, probably, like early, for sure, but probably like repeatedly throughout the fight.
Could be, yeah. Is Gamrot going to be the fastest person Salkilld has ever fought? He probably will, right?
Yeah. Weirdly enough, like the time when Salkild's defense looked the most coherent was when he fought Nasrat Haqparast. Like his game actually functioned. I mean, maybe it's just a simple function of like open stance, and he likes just throwing kicks and big right hands. It's his game just naturally lent itself to fighting open stance slightly more than it does like closed stance, which is a very odd thing to see. Outside of Paulo Costa, you don't normally get people who are super good at fighting southpaws when they're not southpaws themselves. But like, it is worth pointing out that he's also of a type with the Julian Arosas and Meerschaerts of the world. He gets hurt a lot in his fights.
He's a tall guy with no defense.
His fight against Ash Moose, he gets pinned up against the cage, and Ash Moose just kind of starts lighting him up. Ash Moose has lost like huge portions of the fight by this point. He's definitely not winning, but he just starts kind of wrecking Salkilld towards the end of that fight. But also, like, Salkilld gets hit early a lot. Like Dariush like scores a flash knockdown and then immediately goes for the gets into the clinch, and Salkilld is able to like push him out of it. And if you look at Gamrot's fight against Charles Oliveira, also against a big, powerful grappler who's going to strike and kick and all this other kind of stuff. It's a genuinely good counterpunching performance from Gamrot.
Mm-hmm.
It's simply that he can't deter Charles Oliveira. But he gets actually, I think, quite close to being able to do so, because he's landing, clean combinations on things that he never used to do, clean combinations on Oliveira as he's coming in, and it's simply that Charles refuses to be deterred, and that Charles is in better position to take shots as he's coming in than, let's say, Salkilld is. That Charles may not have the best defense in the world, but he does tuck his chin, and he is always looking at the shots as they come at him. And he's also making it extremely scary to do that kind of stuff, because he's always throwing sharp punches back at his opponent. I don't know if these are necessarily true of Salkilld.
No.
These are necessarily real things. And Gamrot is very fast. I think he has, as you said at the beginning, he has improved his boxing quite a lot.
No doubt. Throws combinations now, nice straight punches, better better recovery after he throws, better resets. He has definitely.
Yep. He's got a jab. He's got this nice sort of wide hook that he throws on the counter. He's always had a fast straight right hand. I actually think I'm going to pick Gamrot. And again, I said before we started recording that there's stupid dynamics. I think he's gonna hurt Salkilld multiple times on the feet.
I can
he might
certainly see
even
it.
finish him on the feet, or hurt him and then take him down and not control him from there.
I can certainly see it happening.
But yeah, I think.
I can.
But yeah, I think if he can fight like he did against Oliveira, I think that will do significantly more effective against Quarantillo than it was against Chucky Olives.
Yeah, I can see it happening. I will remind you, you are picking a fight based on the possibility of Mateusz Gamrot securing rounds with dynamic offense or finishing the fight.
I know Yeah, I know, that's why it feels so weird. But
you're on some Conor Reba shit.
I have to call it as I see it.
You're on some Reba shit. I got to tell you, take it from one who knows. I'm gonna take the young guy who wins fights suddenly, and that's I'm just it doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel wholesome. But
also, has anyone ever beaten Gamrot suddenly?
No, but people have beaten him because they repeatedly managed to suddenly hurt him. Yeah. Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
I guess he actually got that. He got a win on paper over Jalen Turner.
Yeah.
But he probably should have lost that one. I mean, it could just be that kind of fight with 2 extra rounds, and whoever wins that is your guess is as good as mine, really.
Yeah. I think Dan Hooker is a good call, because Dan Hooker has been it has been essentially proven that you don't need to be a very good wrestler to take down Dan Hooker.
But you got to keep him there.
Yes. He is big and he is huge and he works very consistently. And he's throwing lots of offense all the time. Yeah, maybe you're right.
I don't know. I mean, look, there's so.
No, he just Salkilld does not strike me. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe he does not strike me as as physically tough as Dan Hooker when I see his fights. He gets hurt a lot.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be shocked if he's not as durable as Dan Hooker. But yeah, I know what you mean, and I'm not sold on Salkilld either. There's a very real part of my brain that wants to say, what if maybe the good guy wins, the guy who's good at fighting. But Yeah, this is not one of those age picks where it's like, yeah, Gamrot has shown clear signs of being done. I just have to pick the younger guy. There's plenty of play left on both sides of this fight. But I don't know. I just have a feeling Gamrot he's just predisposed to give dangerous fighters endless opportunities. It's too many chances.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how
you're probably not wrong.
Doesn't matter how well you fight if you do that. If you're just going to always be giving your opponents lots of chances, then you are not controlling the fight, and you are going to get, at best, a ton of split decisions, as Mateusz Gamrot has.
Yep.
So we'll see. I'm curious about it. Like I said, it is a real main event. It's an actual compelling fight with meaningful consequences. So I'll take it. Speaking of meaningful fights with real consequences, let's take a break. When we come back, Uros Medic somehow defeated Daniel Rodriguez, and several other unspeakably violent things happened in Serbia. This year, I mean. Last weekend. Obviously, unspeakably violent things have happened previously in Serbia. Okay, we're going to talk about that after this. Hey, thanks for listening to this week's Heavy Hands. If you like what you hear, you might consider supporting us on our frankly underpriced Patreon. Not that what you find on there is particularly good, but it is only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/heavyhands to find fight commentaries, bonus episodes, and more as often as we can be bothered to post them. Patreon.com/heavyhands. We hope you enjoy. Now, back to the show. No delay at all between segments, Phil. Why? Because I'm so excited to talk about these fights. Uros Medic, Daniel Rodriguez. One of them, a 48-year-old recent prison inmate whose most notable recent win was over a seemingly shit-faced drunk Kevin Holland versus a guy from Serbia. And the fight lasted 30 seconds.
Yep. Well, that's the kind of fight you want if you're, whichever Serbian bureaucrat paid for this. Yeah. Paid for this card. You just want your hometown hero getting a brutal win in front of the crowd.
Yep.
Hooray.
Yep. That was worth $2 million.
That doesn't actually seem like that much money. Considering that it is an entire sports organization.
It is a lot of money,
you would have thought that
let's put it this way.
I mean,
it's much, much more than they paid for all the fighters who populated this card.
Well, that is very true.
Much more.
I
bet they didn't even scratch 1 million in purses on this fucking piece of shit.
But yeah, Uros Medic, he's basically got a nasty left hook. I don't think Rodriguez has ever been that great at seeing left hands, and yeah, that was kind of it.
He's just slow. Like, he just tried to do something, and then he was like, oh, I guess I'm in no man's land. And then he had to send a telegraph to his feet. A telegram to ask them to move, and before that could happen, Medic had hit him with his right hand, and then 3 more punches.
But yeah, one thing I did like was the little soccer kick to the body that Medic threw as part of the finishing sequence.
Sure.
I always appreciate people throwing body work in there. I was a little concerned. I was like, did he just kick him in the head? No.
Yeah. Clean. Yeah. No shade on Uros Medic for this performance. He didn't look bad. He certainly didn't look any notably worse than he normally does, and he got the desired result. And like I said, it was over in 30 seconds. And the Serbian crowd fucking loved it, I will say. Much as I harped on Dana White's surprising but obvious disdain for the Serbian people with the card that he decided to give them, he was right. lowest common denominator wins once again. They saw a bunch of Serbian guys they'd never heard of lose for like 6 fights in a row leading up to the main event, and then they saw another Serbian guy that also they'd probably hadn't heard of until that weekend, and he won. And that was the last fight of the night, so everyone went home feeling good. Success.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, this is sort of like the stuff they used to do back in the day.
Mhm.
I mean, the way that the UFC used to run travel cards was more used to be around the idea that they were like, we're going to seed international markets with, the love for the UFC.
Right.
And then they'll watch it and then they'll be hooked and then, they'll become loyal UFC consumers. So we'll go around the world and we'll drop into, Germany
Mhm.
or, they'd go to the UK
Go
a
to
bunch.
the Netherlands, go to Denmark, go to fucking, wherever.
Yeah.
Wherever in Europe in particular. They used to really stick to Europe.
Yeah. And when you're there, you put some guys that you hopefully think are gonna win,
Mhm.
In prominent positions, and if they do, people will be happy and go home. But yeah, the difference is now that they have no ideas of, I think, seeding markets anymore. They're simply like, will people pay us to go here?
Who's got the money?
And the Serbians were not willing to pay enough for like a good event, or they weren't willing to do the Saudi Arabian thing, and where they were like, what is this shit? Give us something better.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you see the thing where someone asked Dana what his,
yes, I
his
saw
favorite
that.
fights on the card were?
And he was like, "Shut up! That's a stupid question, you fucking goof." Okay.
Yep.
I thought that was like the most normal softball question a promoter could possibly be asked at a pre-fight press conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was not revealing at all. He really successfully concealed the fact that he didn't know who was fighting.
Yeah. Yes, that was one of the ones where I was just like, come on, man.
Play it a little more coyly than that.
It was the fact that he tried to cover it by being mad as well.
Of course, that's the buffoon's first and only resource is, something happened that I didn't like. Throw a fucking tantrum. Rage is manly. Rage is the only emotion that men are allowed to express. And if I'm up there throwing a fucking hissy fit, but I'm not crying, then actually I'm the cool one. As long as I don't cry. You got to toe the line that Seth Bullock toes in Deadwood. You have to constantly be so pissed that you're about to cry, but God forbid you let a single tear fall. And that's how you be a badass.
Yep.
I thought.
I was just looking up some old like UK fight cards, and they would always have like Michael Bisping in a prominent position.
Naturally.
Again, like back in the day, they would try and give people an actual main event, but they would have Michael Bisping in a prominent position, like second or third from the card. He would be fighting like Jason Day or Dennis Kang. And I think he had one main event, which was versus Chris Lieben.
Oh yes,
remember that one? But yeah, so they kind of used to do this stuff, but this is one of the more one of the more blatant versions of it, and delivered in a slightly different way.
Yeah, it's just paper thin. That's all. Navajo Stirling, Jan Blachowicz. That was the co-main event. This was at least a result of some consequence, I suppose. I don't really know that it told us much about either fighter.
It told us that Jan Blachowicz is super washed now.
Yeah, right. But I kind of
expected after the
Guskov
after
fight.
the Bogdan Guskov fight.
Yeah, exactly. Like it told us something. Which
Jan was fighting someone who has no range game. In Guskov, someone who has no range game, who is incredibly vulnerable to being taken down, and his main thing is just like hitting people and hopefully instantly finishing them.
Yep.
And just like, why would Jan Blachowicz ever struggle with this person? He's got an incredible chin. He can. He's got a good wrestling and top position game, and he's very safe at range. And instead, he got floored and almost finished by him.
Yeah. Then you watch the fight, and you're like, oh, he's 43.
Mm-hmm. Extremely old.
Extremely 43. I thought you were about to say. He's one of the most 43-year-old men I've ever seen.
I mean, the hair is particularly tragic.
It's clinging on for dear life. I know.
I mean,
I noticed that myself.
This being the Unk Fighting Championship nowadays, it does feel like this year has been a particularly tragic one for haircuts. I mean, it's this and the Conor McGregor mohawk.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
The McGregor mohawk that's like thinning in the middle.
Yep. It's much chunkier than the classic mohawk to try to obscure the thinness around that part. Yeah.
Yeah. This one with like the
Jan Blachowicz with
sort
the
of patchy incursions into the top of his head.
Yeah, the
Jan.
Emergence of a George Roop hairline for poor Jan Blachowicz. That Witcher ponytail isn't going to look so cool anymore.
Yeah, because he's got just like a singular strip that he doesn't want to get rid of going down the middle of his forehead. No, Jan, please.
The day he shaves that strip will be the day he stops fighting. He's not ready to admit that it's over.
Mm-hmm.
This was not a bad look, at least, I thought, for Navajo Stirling. He did get buzzed very quickly by Jan Blachowicz, but he recovered well, I thought, and, he just happened to run onto a jab from somebody with an excellent, powerful jab. I thought he took it well and settled himself. And, this is one thing we have learned about Stirling over his UFC run thus far. He might look like somebody who's like a little more timid and uncertain. Maybe it's just an overthinking thing. There's something about his mentality and his bearing that is constantly at odds with his very imposing physique. However, he does not fold or crumble under pressure, and he never has. And if that's what you want to take away from it, him running into early trouble against a much more experienced fighter and kind of just handling it as well as he possibly could is, I think, a good sign.
Yeah. No, I think in general, he actually is looking better fight to fight.
I think so too.
Which is a genuinely rare thing to see.
Yeah.
In MMA in general, but I mean like the heavier divisions.
Yeah, it's just unusual. This is like the real fighter development that once upon a time we didn't really see it happening in the UFC.
Yeah.
All of this level of like you are every single fight getting slowly and inexorably better simply because at the beginning of that process there was so much you didn't know yet. The simple improvement of experience gained, clearly, like that's what we are seeing Navajo Stirling go through. And in part, it's possible for him to go through that process in the octagon because the UFC roster is so thoroughly watered down. However, it is nonetheless impressive that he has been going through such a risky and uncomfortable process in the fucking UFC. And he's still winning all of his fights. So maybe it's not the kind of star power results that jump off the screen, but I agree with you, and I'm glad you also see that he is in fact improving fight to fight.
Yeah, I mean, I thought his striking looked improved. He just looked more comfortable, like throwing in combination, even though he got hurt.
I mean, he even recovered from the nearly flash knockdown so well because his feet were in a nice position. He ran onto a jab, but he had a nice stance, so he didn't even lose his footing. He recovered very quickly. Good positioning.
Yeah, and I think he genuinely has some potential. It's just that he needs to continue. And when we were talking about this fight, we were like, he's going to push him into the clinch and tire him out. Turns out he didn't actually need to.
Nope.
as mentioned, Jan is extremely washed, but it did at least demonstrate that he can. He's not simply going to be outmuscling and physically overpowering his opponents. He can also land. But I mean, Iwan Kutalaba was, largely Kutalaba kind of folding once he realized that he couldn't actually physically compete with this guy. But yeah, I mean, Stirling is. Let me see. He's started his career his MMA career in 2022 of September, which means that he's essentially.
He's not yet 4 years
He's been
in.
doing MMA for like less long than, for example, Bo Nickel, and without the backing of MMA's most useful skill set.
Yeah, he does have a combat sports background, but it is one that we know very well at this point. It does not translate quite so naturally to mixed martial arts. So yeah, I think really,
and also King of the Ring,
mm-hmm.
New Zealand kickboxing is also like not the same thing as Bo Nickel's wrestling career.
Right? Yeah. It's also almost certainly not the same thing as Andrew Tate's kickboxing career. I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
New Zealand has a real kickboxing scene. If you're that close to Thailand, you get some of it by osmosis.
Yep. Even at the bigger weight classes, you will get people who actually know what they are doing.
Right.
Which is notable because Sterling's kickboxing career does not look like can crushing.
No. Yeah, he was an actual kickboxer. Yeah, not like a world champion or anything, but yeah. Australia, New Zealand, like outside of Europe or actual Southeast Asia, those are like Muay Thai style kickboxing hotspots. So it's not surprising that he actually has a real meaningful skill set in that discipline. And also, given that, his wrestling is actually really fucking good, considering that it is not his background. If you think about it, it's actually, I think this is just the thing. It's, you look at Stirling and you want him to be a certain kind of prospect, and it makes it easy to sort of overlook the very real prospect that he very obviously is. He's not running away with all these, but he's less than 4 years into his career. And
he is actually looking like he is on an improvement trajectory, which
no doubt
could take him to a title.
Yeah, I think it's for him. It's really just a matter of experience. I think he does have access to most of the skills he will need. It's just a matter of seeing him look comfortable and poised and in control of himself. And I think we're getting.
I think you give him one more sideways movement because the only people above him that he can fight are Khalil Roundtree, Paulo Costa, Yuri Prochaska, Magomed Ankalaev, Alex Pereira if he's there, and Carlos Ulberg. And
let's give him.
I think any of those,
Uzdemir or somebody,
Yeah, I'd say Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, sure.
Which is just this fight again, but a bit. It's someone who's clearly past it, but still is threatening enough that you can, and he could just get some time in.
I mean, honestly, like he's young enough. What is he? 26, 27?
I think so.
28. But he's young enough that they could spend the next year giving him 4 fights against like the entirety of the sub top 10 light heavyweight rankings. Fight Johnny Walker, fight Alonzo Menefield, It's not going to hurt him. He's only going to get better because, again, I think what we are seeing is a process of simple experience accruing. So, yeah, I'm growing increasingly invested in Navajo Stirling. I will say that's was a more satisfying result on reflection than I think it seemed at first.
Yeah, I mean, if I was like, Jan is washed now, but he, as said, like it's you paste this onto the rest of Sterling's career, and just like he's showing steady, clear improvements between each fight, and you just don't get that at the big man divisions.
100%. Take what we can get. And I think we'll take one more break on top of that, and God knows how we're going to decide which of these incredible fights to focus in on, but there's some more stuff to mention. And fortunately, Phil, we don't have much time left to fill, so we're going to do our best to fill it.
Yay!
After this. Supporting us on Patreon is great, but there are other, even easier ways to support the show. In fact, you can follow this simple 2-step plan. Step 1, make a friend. Any friend at all. Step 2, tell them about Heavy Hands. In lieu of that, you could leave a positive rating or review for us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Back to the show. Okay, welcome back to Heavy Hands. We have some more absolute dog shit to clean off the sidewalk here, but so exciting was the current UFC lineup that Phil and I neglected to even mention that earlier in the show that Usman Nurmagomedov, younger brother of UFC contender Umar Nurmagomedov, and a part of the great and mighty Nurmagomedov clan, had a very impressive performance in defense of his PFL lightweight title this weekend against Archie Colgan, a reputable fighter from what I can tell. And I got to be honest, kind of my first time really taking a good look at Usman Nurmagomedov. How about you, Phil? Have you had your eye on him?
I have watched his fights with Paul Hughes before.
I think I've seen one of those.
Yeah, he basically had a 2-fight series where I think, as I recall, there was like some controversy about the scoring in the first Hughes fight. I did not find it to be, I found it one of those fights where it was like competitive, but I also didn't really feel like Hughes had much of an argument to have won it. It felt a little bit like Gustafsson Jones back in the day. In that, like, one of these guys was kind of overperforming, and he's showing some of the cracks in the seemingly sort of invincible champion kind of thing, and so people are giving him rounds that he's maybe not winning. But it was also like a tremendously gutsy, violent fight, and fantastic back and forth scrap, and then Umar, I think, 50-45'd him in the rematch.
Yep.
Sorry, Usman.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, mentioning Umar, he does fight quite a lot like Umar.
That really struck me. The moment I saw him change stance and then rip off an effortless, positionally minded jab, I was like, oh, that's Umar. Two-handed jab man. We don't see many of them.
Yep.
Yeah. But he's a taller, harder hitting, and obviously much more striking focused take on Umar. Like he does diverge from him quite a bit stylistically. But it's interesting to see like the same elements that make Umar such an effective striker. They are there. It's just that they are wed to a like knockout punching game.
Yep. Yeah, he's interesting because there's more of a kind of stylistic lineage between like Islam and Khabib than there is between these two. These two are, in fact, not just genetically similar, but stylistically very similar. And he will go to his wrestling. I think he took Hughes down in round 3 or 4, but it's mostly wrestling that he's using in reverse. But yeah, as you said, like defined range game. Also throws jabs and also like lead kicks from both stances.
Yeah.
So like constantly peppering his opponent.
I really like
a very, as we said with Umar, it's it's a very like unique looking game. I think many people find it extremely disorienting to fight.
Yeah. And even taking out the stance changing aspect of it, which that's a big part of the uniqueness, is that this sort of first layer positional boxing game functions out of both stances. Very few people can do that. But even without the stance switching entering the equation, I really like the way that Usman uses his jab and his lead side kicks, because so often I am watching an MMA fight and saying, why can't this guy just take what's there? Why? There's an opening. You don't have to hit the guy with your best shot. You don't have to line it up. It doesn't have to be a knockout blow. There's an opening. It's free. Touch him with your jab. And that's very much how he uses it. Like, he exerts a lot of range, control, and pressure, even when he's not moving forward. Just because every time Colgan tries to get into range, he just pokes him in the face, or the chest, or the body, with a nice long strike off the lead hand. And yeah, like the space-filling jab. I'm in the middle of a reset. Oh, this guy's coming on and my feet weren't in the perfect position. Oh, I just threw and missed. Whatever. Any of those moments when you're kind of hanging in no man's land, the jab is a wonderful escape route. And that's exactly how he uses it. So, of course, the like slipping and ripping uppercut counters and all of that, the really eye-catching stuff, that's obviously impressive. But it was all the just nice sort of busy work that led to that actually caught my eye. Like, that's what he looks like, a professional striker,
Mm-hmm. And Colgan is not a bum.
No.
He was, I believe, undefeated before this fight.
I think that sounds right.
And he is not just like entirely fought scrubs either.
Mm-hmm.
At 12, no, he's fought Mansour Banui, he's fought Thibault Goti.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, perfectly solid, like regional,
Yep.
wins over quality regional guys, and has and it's hard to go undefeated in MMA.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I've heard, there are obviously rumors that the UFC is looking to bring Usman on board. That would be fantastic. I would love to see that.
Certainly. Yeah. This is my first time really taking a close look at him, and nothing about it was off-putting. I like what I see.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Will be nice. One way or the other, we should definitely try to keep an eye on guys like Nurmagomedov outside the UFC in future, especially at times like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can finish people. He looks technically well put together, and we know that he can pull out tough 5-round fights. He is a championship level fighter.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. It's hard to disagree, in fact. Okay, well, a couple other random things, I suppose, to mention. I mean, are you really itching to talk about Carlos Diego Ferreira versus Billy Quarantillo, Phil? I'm not, but if you've got something, lay it on me, because otherwise I only have something to say about Alexander Rakic's heavyweight debut, which can obviously wait to the end.
The weird thing is, now that you mention it, maybe I do have things to say about Quarantillo, because again, Quarantillo is the kind of person that CDF would kind of struggle with back in the day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's just big and powerful and
relentless pressure fighter. Doesn't get scared off. Happy to just overextend and crash into you and maul you against the fence. A fundamentally exhausting style archetype.
Yeah, and just big and huge.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, has he ever fought anyone who wrestles? Apart from Kyle Nelson.
Yeah, there was Kyle Nelson. Yusuf Zalal out-wrestled him. Honestly, I think Gavin Tucker also did quite a bit of out-wrestling. Gavin Tucker. Remember him?
Yeah.
He just
I remember
almost
being
had it.
excited about Gavin Tucker.
He
Yeah.
almost had it in basically every facet. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely tangled with some wrestlers. I mean, the real problem is that Billy Quarantillo has a short-lived style. Like, there's only so much you can get out of a career like Billy Quarantillo's, and I think he has very clearly gotten all that there is to be got. He's somebody who has spent his entire career trading on a surfeit of natural durability. Because he knew he could take whatever was dished out at him. It allowed him to spend like that whole career accepting the discomfort that was like necessary in the early portion of every one of his fights, knowing that as long as he kept the pace up, it didn't matter what happened to him. It didn't matter if he got hurt or wobbled or got his face busted up. They were going to get tired as long as he kept fighting. And you're never going to hear me saying that that isn't just a straightforwardly effective approach to basically any combat sport. You know, confidently soak up whatever's given to you and keep the pressure on. That's going to work until it doesn't. And I just think that's all there is to it. We have now seen Billy Quarantillo get absolutely fucking lit up and hurt multiple times in 2 fights in a row now. The only exception to that is a fight over a win over a similarly washed Damon Jackson. And then before that, he also got sparked out by Edson Barboza. So it's a lot of finishes in a short period of time at what is, given all that I've said, very clearly the very final stage of Billy Quarantillo's career. The wheels have fallen off. They just have to fall off with a style like this. There's no preserving a fighting style like Quarantillo's.
Yep. But the wheels have also fallen off Carlos Diego.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I would argue his style is a little better disposed to have certain bits and parts fall off as he goes on. But yeah, no doubt he himself is quite washed. He's significantly older than Quarantillo. Quarantillo's got mileage, but he's only 37. He's practically a baby.
Oh.
Carlos Diego Ferreira's 41.
Yeah.
So neither of them spring chickens.
Yeah. This is. I don't like this because I didn't even want to talk about this, but now
it's your fault. You did it.
Yeah.
I asked you in a simple, open-ended question, Phil. No was always a possible
I didn't actually want to talk about it, and now I'm thinking about it, and it's stuck in my brain. And I'm like, who is actually going to win? It's just going to, like, one of these guys is just going to turn up and look horrific beyond imagining.
Oh, yeah. I just think it's more likely to be Quarantillo. It's who shows up looking hopeless.
I think I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick CD. I'm going to pick Quarantillo.
You're insane. You're on one this episode, Phil.
Yeah, he's the worst fighter. He's the worst fighter historically. But he's also 4 years younger, and he's I think like quite a bit bigger than CDF. And I think if they're both just old, and CDF doesn't just immediately sleep him with a Michael Johnson-esque wanging right hand, CDF gets so tired.
Yeah.
And every fight he's in over the last 5 years, even Billy Q in his current state will find something of himself in him if this happens. Yeah, I came in and really just picked CDF. And now I'm picking Billy Q, and I hate that I've thought about this.
You go back 5 years, I would give Billy Quarantillo very strong, significant odds of beating Carlos Diego Ferreira, even though, as you point out, he never achieved quite the same heights as CDF. Stylistically, Carlos Diego Ferreira historically has had lots of fights turn around very suddenly when he gets too tired. That is all that Billy Quarantillo's style is designed to do. But like I said, I just think Quarantillo's style is fucking busted now. in a way that CDF's isn't. CDF has had that same problem for a long time. Sometimes it's a really big issue, sometimes it isn't. It's always there for the right opponent to exploit. But what Billy Quarantillo has become is a guy whose game is designed to lose the first round, almost by force. Except that he is no longer durable. And I just can't pick that. I at least expect CDF to come out for 3 minutes looking somewhat explosive and confident and aggressive, you know? Quarantillo without his durability just doesn't have anything. His whole game does not work without that. That's all there is to it. So, but I thank you, Phil, for giving me this opportunity, as you have over the last month or so, to catch up to you. Since now that somebody's
got to give you these.
Now that somebody's keeping track of our picks, I am closing the gap. I'll have you know. Soon we will both be sitting at a perfect 50-50 record. What else? I want to point out Alexander Rakic, Marcin Tybura. Very much an even lower rent version of like Bobby Knuckles fighting Nikita Krylov. By the way, which do you like better, Phil? I didn't think of any good ones when we talked about Bobby Knuckles' 205 debut, but in the bonus episode I posted, it came to me as if like a bolt from heaven. Bobby Cankles.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But also I was torn between that and Blobby Knuckles.
Yeah, they're both good.
They're both pretty good, right?
Well, unfortunately, Blobby Cankles is too much.
Yeah, you can't know. That's putting a hat on a hat.
You can't combine them.
That's putting a fat on a fat.
But yeah, I think Bobby Cankles.
Bobby Cankles.
It's a more unique name.
I was pretty happy with that one. Anyway, much in the same way, like you just watch this fight and you're like, oh, I forgot. This division is so much worse than the one below it. They blend together from a distance, but then you see somebody moving between and you're like, oh, okay, it's clear now. And at least with this one, I did recognize that before the fact, because I started watching footage in these guys and I was like, yes, Rakic is chronically timid. And that more than anything has destroyed his chances at being a real light heavyweight contender, because he's got all the physicality you could ever want. He's gigantic. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's like light on his feet and fast and powerful and strong. He's got everything, and size. And you look at him and you're like, I know why he's never gone to heavyweight. Because given all those characteristics, it seems like, why wouldn't he just try it? He's so huge already. And the case with those guys is always that, like, it's a question of confidence. All of these guys are, happy in their disgusting, flabby bodies. And I'm not even happy in my perfectly toned, lean Greek statue physique. I'm not going to fight those heavyweights. So that was like the feeling I carried into thinking about this fight. And then I watched any footage at all, and I was like, oh, Alexander Rakic is just going to like move around and be quick. And of all the heavyweights to put a scare in him, is Marcin Tybura the one? Especially an increasingly washed Marcin Tybura? And the answer was
at his best, he was essentially the Vittori of his division, combining a bricks not for hands, but in his head, but also on his feet. Just a slow, plodding person who is going to soak up damage, but also keep a very high, annoying pace on you.
Awkward, unathletic, but fast-paced, tough, and willing to grapple. These were the aces up Tybura's sleeves, but he just wasn't disposed to beat somebody like Rakic, and this really tells us nothing about whether Rakic is a real heavyweight or not, because he needs to fight somebody who can scare him before we'll answer that question.
Another example of the recent trend of people moving up to a division and getting just a style matchup so beneficial that it makes you think, or what doesn't in fact make you think, yeah, this person could do something in this division, because they probably can't.
Yeah. With Bobby Knuckles, I still believe he probably can do a little something. Rakic,
Probably his, yeah. I mean, both of these divisions are so awful.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, at least Bobby Knuckles went in there and beat the ass off of his light heavyweight opponent, you know? Rakic just went in there and outpointed Marcin Tybura.
Yep.
So,
yeah, who could, I mean, Rakic, he's not even ranked for doing that? Wow.
Maybe it just hasn't been updated yet.
I don't know, I think they would have done it.
Yeah.
But, you know, he can fight top 15 heavyweights like Ryan Spann.
And Mick Parkin?
Mick Parkin, yeah, there we go.
But what if he fought also former light heavyweight Vitor Petrino, who was apparently ranked 11?
Jesus Christ.
I know we've said it before, but the heavyweight division has never, ever been worse. Not ever. It is stunning how bad this division is.
I mean, you know, it has been at the point when, you know, there were like 10 people in it or whatever, but yes.
Yeah. 10 not interesting people.
Yes, certainly not for like...
I wish there was 10 people.
A couple decades.
I wish there were only 10 people in this division. That would be an improvement. So yeah, anyway, that's another, you know, makes you think maybe weight class changing is the solution to any problem I face as a fighter.
Yep.
It worked. That's all I got.
Yep.
Oh, Michael Oliveira had a very impressive debut. There's not much to take away from it. I did appreciate that a few people, or perhaps one person in particular, and I apologize for forgetting who it was. They did say that I ruined... I found another way to ruin fights for them by asking the simple question, do MMA fighters have any idea how to stop a right hand? And they watched Michael Oliveira have his, on its face, extremely impressive debut in which he just effortlessly bullied and knocked out Oban Elliott. But you watch it and you're like, boy, every time Elliott remembers to throw that right hand, it just lands. It just straight up lands for free. But, you know, that's every MMA fighter. And taking that into account, it's pretty clear Oliveira, he has the sauce. He is built like a tank. He's built very much, in fact, like Kamaru Usman. Very similar frame. He showed one defensive wrestling move, which was all that was required, but stuffed Oban Elliott's shot so effortlessly that I'm convinced he has at least one very strong layer of takedown defense, and he doesn't mind taking shots to get in the pocket and hit people. So, very high chance that he turns into a real welterweight contender in time. He has all of the necessary ingredients.
Also, on the note of ruining things, I would like to apologize on behalf of the Heavy Hands podcast to whichever listener it was a while back who, after you ruined the First Law trilogy, just posted in the comments, I just started reading The Blade itself. So I would like to apologize to that person.
How did I ruin the First Law trilogy? Did I spoil it?
You were talking about like endings and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you're like, you know how the First Law starts this way and ends this way?
Sorry.
And I admonished you for spoiling it. And you were like, no one cares about this stuff.
It came out 15 years ago.
I've read it, and it's all that matters.
You know, this is a great time, Phil. We got nothing else to talk about. The episode's essentially over. Let me just say something about spoilers. Grow up. That's what I have to say about spoilers. Grow the fuck up. Oh no, I found out what happens in this book that's not real. You'll still enjoy the book. If that ruins the book for you, then the book sucks. That's my firmly held belief.
That's a stupid belief.
Spoilers are only capable of ruining a story that sucks. Because if it depends entirely on you simply not knowing what's going to happen, then it has no rewatch value, and that means it's not actually good. Okay, I said it. Spoilers are fake.
No, they aren't.
Okay, fine. Thanks for listening to this week's episode.
There's obviously a better way. It is better to have plot points revealed to you by a well-crafted storyteller than having your friend just be like, "Oh my god, did you hear? You know, at the end, it turns out that Bruce Willis is a sled."
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just you get a better emotional reaction out of it.
Yeah. And when you were in high school and you watched Psycho for the first time, you were like, "Seen it. I know what's going to happen. That was predictable." Right? Because everybody knows what happens, and it ruined it. It's no longer a movie that people like because everybody knows. Oh wait, anything good can be spoiled.
Let people enjoy things how they want to enjoy them.
That's fine.
Do not want to have you tell them the outcomes of things.
That's fine. They're welcome to do that. You know what? Person who very nicely and sadly said that I spoiled the book for them. Fuck you. Stop listening to the podcast, all right? You don't want your shit spoiled. You get the fuck out. All right, I've said my piece. You little piece of shit. I'll ruin whatever book I want.
You tell him, Connor.
Thank
You're
you.
The big man here.
Thank you. All right, well, that's it for this week's episode of Heavy Hands. We got a good one. We're breaking through with this episode. The UFC is trying once again in their second event of August. It's UFC 330. So next week we're going to get to talk about Islam Makhachev versus Ian Gary, Mackenzie Dern versus Jillian Robertson, Edson Barboza, Esteban Rubovic. That's on the main card. Jalen Turner versus Cow. Is this the is this the card?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a main event. It's essentially like this, event, but it's just on a higher level.
Charles Johnson, Jose Ochoa has not yet been slotted in, but that's a nice fight. That's on the announced section. Chidi Njokuani, Joel Alvarez. That's a good fight too. That has not yet been slotted.
Yeah, that's cool.
So okay, it's not all bad. Anyway, we still have to wait a week for it. We'll talk to you about it then. Find us on Twitter at Evo Greg Jackson, at Boxing Bush. Specifically, find me on Twitter at Boxing Bush. If you would like to have classic books ruined for you, I'm happy to do that for anybody who wants it. Anybody who wants the smoke can come and fucking get it. And we'll be back next week. Until then, if you came here today for the finer points of face punching, you came to the right place. This has been Heavy Hands. Hamlet dies at the end. Hamlet dies, they all die.
No, he doesn't. He's just making that up.